Good afternoon. The meeting will now come to order. Hello, I am Tyra Battaglia, President of the Board of Education. I would like to welcome you to the May 14th, 2025 board meeting. In keeping with the board's commitment to open communications with the community, this meeting is being streamed live on CCPS website at www.carrollk12.org and broadcast live on Channel 21. We are also recording this meeting so that it can be accessed on demand on our website and broadcast throughout the month on Channel 21. Public participation will be held at approximately 5:15 p.m. following the report section of the board agenda. Speakers will be directed into the boardroom from the building lobby and allotted 3 minutes to address the board. As a reminder, please silence all cell phones and devices. Board members, please turn off your microphones when you are not speaking. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. You may be seated. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey.
I'll second.
A second by Mr. Whistler. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
May I please have a motion to approve the minutes? And those would be the revised minutes.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler.
Second.
And a second by Ms. Zimmer. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Let's see here. And we also have the unapproved joint meeting minutes from when we met with the county commissioners. Have a motion? Moved by Dr. Malvo.
I'll second.
And second by Mr. Whistler. All those in favor?
Aye.
And we now have the student government report.
Hello everyone, thank you so much for your time. My name is Enya Slowinski. I'm a senior at Century High School, as well as your Carroll County Student Government Association president. Over the past month, CCSGA seniors have hosted a series of webinars to support students across Carroll County in navigating the college application process. To wrap up this initiative, we'll be holding an in-person session at the end of the month focused on writing effective college essays. This Saturday, I'll be joining several members of our executive board at the final Maryland Association of Student Councils executive board meeting. We'll be presenting our regional report, learning from other regions and MASC staff, and exchanging ideas to strengthen student government across the state. Looking ahead, CCSJ's final meeting of the year will be held on May 30th at Central Office. At that meeting, we will officially welcome our incoming president, Mason Dean. I'm incredibly excited to see all that he and the new executive board will accomplish in the year ahead. As a reminder, staff applications are due to Mr. Melhorn by 4 p.m. on May 23rd. As I deliver my final board report, I want to take a moment to express my gratitude. Thank you to Mr. Melhorn for being an incredible advisor. Your guidance and unwavering support have been instrumental to our success. To the students who regularly attended General Assemblies, thank you for continuously inspiring me and reminding me why I got involved in student government in the first place. And to Chloe Kang, thank you for being my student government other half. From late night CCSGA texts to big projects, your dedication and partnership have meant the world to me. Thank you for an unforgettable year and the opportunity to serve you.
Thank you. Board members, I would like to invite you to join me in front of the dais so that we may recognize our outgoing student representative to the board.
This is for the student room. Okay. Oh. Is it for this? Okay.
Carry anything?
Yes, thank you.
This is a proclamation from the Carroll County Board of Education for Chloe Kang, student representative of the Carroll County Board of Education. Whereas on June 12th, 2024, Chloe Kang, elected under the procedures developed by the Carroll County Student Government Association, was officially seated as the 49th student representative to the Board of Education of Carroll County, Maryland. And whereas she has regularly and effectively fulfilled the responsibilities of this position as prescribed in the bylaws of the Student Government Association and has rendered outstanding service to the students of Carroll County. And whereas, while serving as the student representative to the board, she has continued to maintain high ideals in the classroom and before the public and has been an outstanding student and school citizen. Be it therefore resolved that the Board of Education of Carroll County gives recognition to Chloe Kang for contributions on behalf of all students in Carroll County Public Schools and wishes for her to be very best in all future endeavors. And be it further resolved that this proclamation honoring her be inscribed upon the minutes of the Board of Education of Carroll County, Maryland on this 14th day of May, 2025. Congratulations. I'll sit here for just the time being. There you go. I would also like to recognize Chloe's mother, Kathy Kang, who is here with us today. Chloe, would you like to say a few words?
A lot of my gratitude's going to come in my board report, but I'd like to just say I'm very thankful for all the Carroll County students who initially voted me in my sophomore year and for giving me their trust to even continue this office. It's really been an honor. It's been a dream. This is what I really wanted, and I got everything that I wanted out of it as well. And I'm just so thankful. I'm thankful for my board members, and I'm thankful to my mom. Hi, Mom. And I'm thankful to my CSSJ seniors. I see Michael and Enya in the back, and then also Alex. Yeah.
Do we want to do a picture real quick?
All right, board members, I would like to ask you to remain standing as we recognize our National Merit Scholarship finalists and our Maryland Skills USA competition medal winners. Mr. Shockney, would you please come forward to the podium to begin our recognition?
Good evening. It's a pleasure to recognize our students who have been named National Merit Scholarship finalists. Students, as I call your name, please come forward. I would also like to ask that any family members here with you this evening to stand and be recognized. 3 high school seniors from Carroll County Public Schools have been named finalists in the National Merit Scholarship Program. To qualify as a finalist and be considered for a National Merit Scholarship, a student must have a record of consistently very high academic performance in all of grades 9 through 12 and in any college coursework taken. I'd like to call the following students to come forward. Jason Connell, Manchester Valley High School, parents Mary Connell and Craig Connell. Bennett Holosky, Westminster High School. Parents Dan and Kelly Holosky. Akshobhya Pant, Liberty High School. Parents Ruchi Agarwal and Devanshi Pant. I would now like to recognize our students who have earned medals in our Maryland Skills USA competition. Carroll County Career and Technology Center students earned 34 individual and team medals, 15 gold, 12 silver, and 7 bronze at the Maryland Skills USA Leadership Conference, more than any other school in the state. Individual students or teams that earn gold medals will be able to represent the Career and Technology Center and Maryland at the National Skills USA Conference in Atlanta this summer. So students, again, as I call your name, please come forward, and family members, please stand to be recognized. Our first student, Celio Balsamo, grade 11, prepared speech, silver medal, parents Giovanni and Alma Balsamo. Brady Bonney, grade 12, automated manufacturing technology, gold medal, parents Scott and Deborah Bonney. Cam Brown, grade 11, masonry, bronze medal, parents Conrad Brown and Leanna Layer. Ryan Brown, grade 11, video news production, gold medal. Parents, Robert and Emily Brown. Tianda Chawai, grade 12, advertising design, silver medal. Parent Natalie Green Dunbar. John Davia, grade 12, automated manufacturing technology, silver medal. Parents Joseph and Heather Davia. Max DeLuca, grade 12, automotive maintenance and light repair, gold medal. Parents Anthony and Rebecca DeLuca. Kylie Fetty, grade 11, additive manufacturing, gold medal. Parent, Rachel Fetty. Sam Frundell, grade 12, digital cinema production, gold medal. Parents, Carl Frundell and Kathy Schilling Nichols. Kimura Harid, grade 12, crime scene investigation, gold medal. Parents Calvin Harid and Lillian Mallory. Isabella Hartwig, grade 12, automotive refinishing, bronze medal. Parents Charles and Victoria Hartwig. Elena Jones, grade 12, nursing assisting, gold medal. Parents Christina Jones and David Jones. Ali Khan, grade 12, crime scene investigation, gold medal. Parents Saida Khan and Ayaz Khan. Reith Coquette-Noor, grade 12, technical math, bronze medal. Parents Amit Coquette-Noor and Shalipa Kodakani. Matt Mawini, grade 12, architectural drafting, silver medal. Parents Robert and Sarah Mawini. Luke Peterson, grade 12, engineering technology design, gold medal. Parents Thierry and Joanne Peterson. John Rose, grade 11, additive manufacturing, gold medal. Parents William and Wendy Rose. Lexi Sanders, grade 11, quiz bowl, gold medal. Parents Timothy and Jennifer Sanders. Patrick Scott, grade 12, automated manufacturing technology, silver medal. Parents Norbert and Amy Scott. Kayla Sexton, grade 12, cosmetology, bronze medal. Parents Ryan and Heather Sexton. Kovid Sharethra, grade 12, automated manufacturing technology, silver medal. Parents Satish and Nina Sharethra. Luke Talley, grade 12, quiz bowl, gold medal. Parents Brent and Christina Talley. Tyson Thomas, grade 11, video production, gold medal. Parent Chanel Desmond. Sophia Sukervanik, grade 12, crime scene investigation, gold medal. Parents Vladislav Mats and Ekaterina Sukervanik. Michael Valerio, grade 12, quiz bowl, gold medal. Parents James and Gina Valerio. And very importantly, did I miss anyone? Okay, how about another round of applause for all of our students? Students, congratulations. Thank you so much. We are so very proud of your accomplishments. And families, as always, thank you for your ongoing support of your children and our schools and our community. Thank you.
In the lobby there. Hello, welcome. Have a seat. Okay, so we are now going to go ahead and move on with the agenda. Our next item is board member activities and correspondence, and I will begin with Dr. Malvo.
All right, thank you. So, right off the bat, I want to make sure to say my apologies if I mispronounce any names. I went to a number of schools, met a lot of different full-time faculty and staff. So, for the month, to start with, on April 17th, I attended the legislative wrap-up in which members of the Carroll delegation reported on the 2025 session of the Maryland General Assembly. On April the 24th, I took part in the joint meeting with Carroll County Commissioners, and we discussed the proposed charter school blueprint and other matters. April 29th, I visited Sandy Mount Elementary School. I want to thank Principal Daryl Robbins for showing me around and sharing the inner workings of the school, including their Watch Our Data Grow program. I look forward to coming back to Sandy Mount on the 28th for their spring music concert. On April 30th, I went to the employee recognition ceremony hosted by the Carroll County Career and Tech Center. Honors were given to CCPS employees with 25 years or more of service, to administrators, including Principal Addison Beck of Hampstead Elementary. Wonderful, my son's former elementary school principal, so very excited about that. As well as Vice Principal Lois Tiffany of Manchester Valley High, and of course, Teacher of the Year, Amy Glascock of Winfield Elementary. We are fortunate to have you all. May 1st, I had an extended visit to Manchester Valley High School. Principal Joseph Guerrero and staff shared so much. I appreciate the time spent in Lauren Stevens' anatomy class with lessons on the cranial nerve system and Rob Lehman's algebra class. Also impressive is the fact that Manchester Valley is the only school in the county with a licensed preschool, and it offers courses in child development and early education, as well as internships under the guidance of Director Angie Kays. Please keep up the excellent work. Thank you. Also on May 1st, I attended the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee's recognition ceremony at Winters Mill High School. I have never been to an award ceremony like this. Parents of special needs children shared heartfelt stories about the honored employees who absolutely transformed the lives of their children. You deserved every honor given to you, and it was such a pleasure to witness it. On May the 2nd, I went to North Carroll Middle School and spent a lot of valuable time with Principal Lisa Livingston and her staff. The band and orchestra teacher, Allie Anthony's 8th graders did a fabulous job playing the Red Balloon song. And spoiler alert, I guess that's what they're going to play at their concert coming up. I also appreciated visiting the classes of Family and Consumer Science teacher Vicki Krauthmile, career coach Matt Davis, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade counselors Christy Valentine, Katie Johnson, and Mary D. Oxen, and science teacher Jamie Keeley. The students were extremely kind and friendly. I thank you all, particularly Tyler and Grayson. Great job with delivering donuts at the School Lunch Hero Day. To your cafeteria manager, Rebecca Mann, and staff members, Joe Purdy and Jessica Myers. Thank you again, North Carroll Middle, for such an enjoyable day. And another visit on May 6th occurred. I appreciated my time at the Career and Tech Center with Principal Tom Riddle and various instructors. This included the mechanical engineering class with Tom Blizzard, whose students were working on the NIMS, or the National Institute of Metalworking Skills exam. Heavy equipment teacher Edward Stevens, whose students were troubleshooting a Caterpillar diesel truck engine that wouldn't start. Carpentry teacher John Messinger, whose students were making storage buildings and tiny homes, which actually was publicized in the newspapers. Masonry teacher Mike Capinell's students who were constructing brick oven pizzas. Also thank you, Kristen Roach, for the details on certification in the nursing program, and Paul Burnside with the Graphic and Information Systems program, whose students were actually identifying abandoned oil and gas well locations to be fixed and amended for our environment. Very impressive work, which we all pretty much know is being done at the Career and Tech Center. May 8th, I attended the Carroll County Career and Tech Education Local Advisory Council meeting. Very informative reports were given on FFA, Skills USA, and other items. And then on May the 9th, I met with Michael Hardesty, our Director of Transportation Services for CCPS. He showed me around to see some minor boundary adjustments within our school district to be considered by the board. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'll start by saying this week, May 12th through 17th, is National Pupil Personnel Worker Week. Our PPWs serve as advocates for students and families, and they consult and collaborate with staff on issues such as attendance, discipline, residency, homelessness, and crisis support. They work hard to connect families to the community resources they may need and to help form and maintain a positive homeschool connection. So thanks to all of our PPWs for their dedication and commitment to our students and families. And now for my activities. On April 10th, I attended MABE's Conference Program Committee meeting, where we continued planning for our 2025 conference. April 11th, I attended the Equity Committee meeting, where we reviewed plans for our upcoming meetings with school liaisons. I thank Dr. Moore for facilitating the meeting. Later that day, I was able to go to the Tournament of Champions at McDaniel College, and it was wonderful to see the students participate in all of the fun, positive physical challenges as they explored the adapted skills stations. So thanks to all staff for providing this opportunity for students. On April 12th, I was able to attend a couple of high school musicals. And I will just make this general comment because it certainly relates to all of the musicals that I was able to attend. But we certainly thank and congratulate all of the drama and music teachers, in addition to other staff who've been involved in preparing students. We also thank the cast members and crews, because in each of the schools, the productions were wonderful and the community support was really great to see. So many thanks to all for their performances. On the 12th, I attended Liberty High School's production of Cinderella, and it was basically a packed house for Cinderella. So many little girls in beautiful little gowns. And that evening, I attended Century High School's production of Mamma Mia. On the 14th, I attended the MABE Legislative Committee meeting along with Mr. Whistler. On April 24th, I too attended the joint meeting with our county commissioners, And I'll just add that I continue to be grateful for the opportunity to team with the commissioners as we work together to care for our students and school communities. Thanks to Dr. McCabe, Mr. O'Neill, and Mr. Shockney for presenting current information at the meeting. On April 26th, I attended FSK's Key Players production of Mean Girls. On the 29th, I had the opportunity to attend the Teacher Advisory Council. And again, this was a pleasure for me because I'm the alternate, but I was able to be a part of that meeting for the entire day. So I certainly enjoyed meeting with our teacher leaders. It was a very informative and engaging meeting. We received information about our multi-tiered systems of support that was presented by Mr. Wernick. We also had blueprint updates shared by Mr. Shockney. And then there were 2 school presentations. Manchester Valley shared their implementation of individual support plans, and that was shared by Principal Guerra and Kathy Kefauver. And we also heard from West Middle on their implementation of professional learning communities, and that was presented by Amy Gramata, Principal Shannon Zepp, and Kate Brakey. So I thank Mr. Shockney for planning and facilitating the day. That evening, I was able to attend the Pathways and Possibilities presentation at the Career and Technology Center. I thank Pam Mesta and all staff involved in sharing the possibilities that are available at our Career and Technology Center with our multilingual students and their families. On April 30th, it was an honor to attend the Employee Recognition Ceremony. Special congratulations again to all employees who were recognized for 25, 30, and 35 years of service, and also to those who received special awards and recognition. May 1st, I attended the MABE Conference Program Committee meeting, where again, we continued planning for this year's conference. And that evening, I was able to go see Westminster High School's production of We Will Rock You, the school edition. Again, another very, very fine musical. On May 2nd, I attended the science fair at Linton Springs Elementary School. I had the pleasure of hearing from several groups of scientists as they shared their science projects with Chloe and me. And Chloe, I'm just going to add, you were certainly wonderful as you accompanied me, and she was just very praiseworthy and encouraging with the students as she presented them with their ribbons. So thanks, Chloe, for helping me out that night. At the end of looking at the exhibits, there was a high-energy science show at the conclusion of the science fair. So many thanks to Principal Meziere, Cody Cover, and the Science Fair Committee for a wonderful event. May 3rd, the Big Country Breakfast at the Technology Center. So a delicious meal planned and served, so I certainly thank Principal Riddle, staff, and all of the culinary students for serving the community. May 6th, I attended the county budget hearing, and on May 13th, I attended the MABE Awards Committee meeting. The committee reviewed all of the applicants for the Distinguished School Board Service Award, and that award is going to be presented at this year's MABE conference. And I'll end by congratulating a fellow board member. Congratulations to Tara Battaglia. She's proven to be a lifelong learner, and I won't take any more of her thunder because you'll be hearing more about that later. So thank you.
Miss Chloe, can you give your last report?
Of course. So I'd first like to start off by saying I'm sorry I wasn't here for the April 24th meeting with the commissioners. I was actually taking a mock AP exam with Liberty High School, and so calculus was what I was doing that evening. So things have officially been wrapping up. I attended and presented our CCSJ senior webinar workshops throughout April. Thank you to all of our students who came. I know myself and then the rest of the seniors, Anya, Alex, and Michael, had an awesome time sharing their experiences and advice with everyone who came. And we hope to see everyone in person on May 2nd from 6 to 8 at Westminster High School for an evening all about our essays. I also, on May 2nd, was with Dr. Dorsey for the Linton Springs Elementary School Science Fair. It was such an amazing opportunity, and thank you to Ms. Cody especially for giving me the invitation to go and see the students. It was really interesting to see all the different pathways and passions each student had, and I really did enjoy talking to each of them. I've also been able to wrap up some of my school activities. So outside, I kind of went to my National Honor Society inductions as my last year as secretary for a 2-year term, and I finished off with my band and orchestra concerts for my 4th year. And I look forward to my last UCSGA Executive Board meeting on May 30th and a Maryland State School Health Council meeting tomorrow on May 15th. So looking forward, I'll be at the West Middle School Career Day on Friday, May 23rd. I'm very excited to talk about my position as a student rep, hopefully garner some more student interest. Thank you to Ms. Kelly for reaching out with this very special opportunity. I'll also be attending the Freedom District Lions Club meeting on Wednesday, May 28th for the Lions Education Night to receive one of 3 Student Volunteer Service Awards. Thank you for the Lions Club for this invite and for recognizing all the hours that I've put into community service. And then, as my final note, to all of our Carroll County high schoolers, good luck on wrapping up AP season. I know it's very stressful. I myself just finished my very last AP of the year with AP German this morning. And to all of the seniors who are going through their last drama productions, last concerts, last sports games, I hope everyone's able to make the very best memories that they have been able to for the past 4 years. And to the rest of our Carroll County students and teachers, I wish everyone a good luck as they go through finals week, and to have a very relaxing summer vacation, as I will not be here for our June meeting. And as a very, very final thank you note, as my last meeting, it's been an amazing journey serving as the student representative on the Board of Education. I'm honored truly to have held this position, and there are really no words to describe how much I've grown and just how much I've learned from being on this dais. I learned a lot about how our county works, what I was able to represent and share with the students and with the board, and just understand what it means to be a leader and to really push student activism and participation just in Carroll County. Thank you to all of our students who reached out to me with comments, concerns, questions, all the like throughout this entire year. It's been an honor to talk to each and individual person. Thank you to my teachers all across Carroll County who are able to share their own opinions and experiences in the school system, as well as community leaders and members who gave me their opinions, whether it was through board comments or just personal comments about all the things that we've been through this year. And I would especially like to thank my advisor, Mr. Melhorn, for being the best advisor that I could have this year. He really helped me go through an awesome time. And I'd also like to thank the Maryland SMOBs for giving me more support, as they gave me opportunities to really learn from them as they went throughout their own SMOB work. And to my board, thank you so much for a great year. I can't believe it's been a year already. Time has flown by very fast, like you said in the very beginning, Mr. Whistler. Yeah. I just had so many opportunities to learn, grow, and try new things from each and every single one of you. I'm really thankful for everything that you've given me and things that I'll be able to carry on. And to my Schwab-elects, Ella, and then Jasmina. Hi, girl. I'm so confident that you guys are going to do amazing in the future, and I'll definitely come back and watch you guys, and you're always welcome to reach out to me, Obvi. So yeah, thank you so much, Carroll County. It was such an honor. Yeah.
Thank you. Ms. Zimmer.
It's hard to follow that. Before I start, I just want to congratulate you, Miss Kang, Chloe. It was very nerve-wracking being elected onto this board, and you actually get here and have to sit up here, and I've just really enjoyed our short time together. Your maturity and ability to communicate is just far beyond your age, and I think you're going to be doing wonderful things. On April 24th, I attended the the Carroll County Board of Commissioners and Board of Education joint meeting. And on May 6th, I attended the Board of County Commissioners proposed budget hearing with public comment. I would like to take the opportunity to once again thank our commissioners for preliminarily agreeing to fund CCPS $5.8 million above the promised increase in ongoing funds for fiscal year 2026. Again, I just really want to thank them. Because of their commitment, we'll be able to fund the third year of the ratified salary agreement with our support services employee groups. We'll be able to maintain outdoor school and continue with one-to-one technology for students in grade 3 through 5. We will not have to reduce the planned salary increase for bus drivers from 5% to 3%. And finally, we will not need to dip into the fund balance to cover rising utility costs. Thank you again, County Commissioners. We're so grateful. I was truly sorry to miss the employee recognition ceremony on April 30th. I would like to extend my heartfelt congratulations to our Teacher of the Year, Miss Amy Glasscock. On May 8th, I attended the Security Advisory Council, and finally on May 9th, I attended a Title I annual parent advisory meeting. My spotlight of the month in May, I returned to Miss Elena Peak's 7th grade English Language Arts class in Sykesville Middle School. As I reported last month, I visited in early April while students were studying myths to explore character traits, plot elements, and themes. I returned on April 15th to see the culmination of their work as students presented their own original myths, their creativity shown through a variety of media, including stories, animated videos, poems, and posters. I was especially impressed by the students' originality and thoughtful connections they made to classic elements of mythology. It was clear they had put significant time and effort into their projects and were excited to share their work. Thank you again, Ms. Peak, for having me back out. Thank you.
Mr. Whistler.
Thank you, Madam President. I hope everyone had a wonderful Mother's Day. I know I'm enjoying spring and the warmer weather. And to our students and educators, the end of the school year is almost here. So keep that in mind. Before I give my report, I do want to congratulate Chloe. You've been a remarkable colleague. You're the third student member of the board that I've served with so far, and just remarkable. I mean, it's just incredible the way you advocate for your classmates and your perspective, and your just even-keeled demeanor, and the substantive input and comments that you've made during our meetings has really made a difference. And to reiterate what Ms. Zimmer said, you're going to go far, and you have big shoes to fill, and we look forward to working with you too. On April 10th, I attended the Family Life Advisory Committee meeting at Central Office. The committee voted on a recommended notification process so parents can choose an appropriate health framework option that fits the needs of their children. This new process will make it a bit easier on educators, and again, at the same time, still assure parents are notified and given an option. On April 14th, I accepted an invitation from the Oklahoma Road Middle School PTO to meet with parents and answer their questions about Blueprint, the AIB waiver, the charter school process for the application that we see coming to us here now, and its impact on South Carroll. And also we talked about funding issues facing our school system. So I appreciate the invitation by that PTO to meet with parents and just give them more information. On April 17th, I attended the Chamber of Commerce Legislative Wrap-Up meeting at Carroll Community College. All of our county, state legislators once again did a phenomenal job advocating for our entire school system and local control. They were instrumental, in particular, Delegate Josh Stanko. Just incredible work on their part to not only work with key legislators in Annapolis, but also to interact with and communicate with our community residents and a lot of the groups in our county. And collectively, everyone made the difference. So I appreciate their efforts. On April 24th, I attended the Joint Board of Commissioners and Education meeting with my colleagues in the Reagan Room at the County Government Office Building. To reiterate what my colleagues have already said, I really appreciate the commitment and the partnership of our commissioners to make sure that our school system is funded and that we continue to be the best school system in the state. On April 26th, I attended an event that honored former school board member and retired state delegate Susan Krebs. We're also very proud of her legacy and the tremendous impact she's made on our county after 24 years of public service. On April 28th, I attended the Bridging Life Taste of Carroll event at Stratosphere in Eldersburg. It was great seeing so many philanthropic donors, elected officials, and community residents turn out to support such a terrific institution. On April 29th, I attended a portion of the Teacher Advisory Committee meeting at the Farm Museum. I was chained to my desk, and I'm so glad that Dr. Dorsey was there the entire day. And I'm sorry I missed their comments. But I really appreciate the dedication of our educators to help ensure we remain one of the best performing school systems in the state as it relates to academic achievement. I was extremely pleased to hear feedback on the cell phone policy we adopted, and it does seem to be working. So I want to thank our students for following the policy that was designed to improve your focus and growth in learning and instruction. Later that evening on the 29th, I too attended the CCPS English Speakers of Other Languages Pathways and Possibilities event held at the Career and Tech Center. Thanks again to Principal Tom Riddle and Pam Mesta for offering families so many resources they can use to help ensure their children quickly integrate into our school system and learn. As a former United States Navy linguist myself, I'm very pleased to see our county take a proactive role in helping children and parents overcome language barriers. On April 30th, I attended the Teacher and Staff Awards ceremony with my colleagues that honored our educators and staff for reaching service milestones. It was also a pleasure to see so many celebrate our Administrator and Teacher of the Year nominees. Many thanks to the Chamber of Commerce and other sponsors for helping us honor our wonderful employees year after year. And on May 12th, I attended our Maryland Association Boards of Education legislative wrap-up meeting. I and other Board of Education representatives received an overview of education-related bills that passed the General Assembly. And we also talked about those that we were successful in stopping. And believe me, there were a lot that we stopped. I appreciate the efforts of MABE, our lobbyists, and our superintendents in particular around the state for working together so that we can preserve local control and educate state leaders and legislators about the impact Blueprint has on our school systems. And finally, I'm looking forward to celebrating our seniors at the upcoming graduation ceremonies. It's absolutely one of the favorite parts of my job being a board member. And congratulations to our seniors. Well done, educators and staff, for helping them get to where they need to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rissler. Okay, I'm going to talk as fast as I can. On April 11th, I attended the Tournament of Champions. April 14th, attended the CP3O meeting. It's hard to say, as a guest speaker, and I gave updates on the Blueprint and AIB. April 17th, attended the legislative wrap-up as well. April 24th, attended our joint commissioners meeting. April 29th, attended the Career and Technology Center Pathways Evening. Again, thank you to all those who were involved in coordinating that event. April 30th, attended the Spring Challenge at Westminster High School in the morning, and then the that evening, the Employee Recognition Ceremony at Career and Technology Center. And again, congratulations to all of our teachers, the finalists, our Teacher of the Year, Principal of the Year, and our Vice Principal of the Year. On May 1st, I attended the Manchester Elementary School 5th grade orchestra chorus band concert. On May 3rd, attended the Mother's Day breakfast at the Career and Technology Center, which is always one of my favorite events when they have breakfast. And again, the food was absolutely amazing and delicious. May 5th, attended the CAC meeting we had here in Central Office. May 6th, attended the School Health Council meeting in the afternoon and attended the Commissioner's budget hearing that evening. May 8th, attended the LAC meeting and the SAC meeting here in Central Office. May 9th, attended the Friends for Life prom at Manchester Valley, and let me tell you, that was incredible. I personally find them having that time for themselves and that space for themselves, it really, you can tell it means a lot to those kids, and I really appreciate Manchester Valley hosting this year. Some upcoming events: May 15th, I'll be at the Partnership Appreciation at Career and Technology Center. May 16th, Project Lead the Way trade show. May 21st and May 22nd, the Career and Technology Center certificate ceremonies. May 28th, we have ceremonies at Carroll Springs, Gateway, and May 30th, Transition Academy. June 2nd, June 3rd, and June 4th, I will be attending graduation ceremonies in that afternoon. I just want to take time to thank all of our teachers and staff for all their hard work as we start to come to the end of the school year. And I'm hearing out in the community, yay, it's almost here. Over the past few weekends, I have loved seeing all the prom pictures that parents have posted, end of year spring concerts, spring sports, plays, various activities, and all the celebrations our schools are hosting. We truly do have an amazing school system. This week is National Police Week, and I want to thank all of our law enforcement for all they do in our communities, and especially our SROs, which we had the wonderful privilege of honoring some of them at our employee recognition for their hard work. May 8th is National Mental Health Awareness Month, and we do need to continue to increase awareness about the vital role mental health plays in our overall health and well-being, and provide resources of information to support individuals and communities who may need mental health support. We need to continually advocate to end this stigma. It's okay not to be okay. Just a little reminder for our seniors, because I've heard some really bad things. Please make good choices when doing traditional senior pranks this year. While the occasional loose chicken running the hall is comical, please make sure to check with your administration with any ideas so no one risks getting in too much trouble. Congratulations to all of our seniors. This is your time to shine. To the parents of our seniors, thank you for being part of the Carroll County school system. Whether you have volunteered or participated in activities your children were a part of, without you, we would not have no school system. And finally, a little personal accomplishment, and thank you, Dr. Dorsey, because I got a little choked up, so I really appreciate you saying what you said. This Saturday, I am graduating from the University of Maryland Global Campus with my bachelor's in social science, and it has been a 10-year road. But I'm a little cat. It's taken me 10 years, but the past 6 years, I have really dug in. And I have applied the content I was learning to many discussions and decisions I have made, from COVID to curriculum, education policy, and community needs. I have learned a great deal about myself and the world around me. I want to personally thank all of those who have assisted me with my journey, whether it was interviews for papers, explanations on how we as a school system implement content I was studying, and cheered me on. I am proof that anyone can go back to school at any time to achieve and exceed in their goals. And especially I want to thank Dr. Dorsey and Dr. McCabe for guiding me in any papers I was writing and had questions, and your mentorship. I really, truly appreciate it. So.
Congratulations.
Everybody. Okay. All right, Dr. McCabe.
First this evening, congratulations to our 2025 Carroll County Teacher of the Year, Amy Glasscock, a 5th grade humanities teacher at Winfield Elementary School. Amy is a highly effective teacher who excels in the areas of planning and instruction, data analysis and student goal setting, and promoting social-emotional well-being with students and staff. She presents dynamic lesson plans to students and focuses on creating a safe and positive learning environment. She also collaborates with members of the school community to provide seamless instruction and social-emotional support to create an ideal learning environment for each student. Amy has presented school-based and county-wide professional development on multiple topics. She is a national board-certified teacher and an adjunct instructor at McDaniel College, where she provides instruction to fellow educators who are pursuing their certification. She will now move on to compete for the Maryland Teacher of the Year. I also would like to congratulate Addison Beck, principal at Hampstead Elementary School, and Lois Tiffany, assistant principal at Manchester Valley High School, who have been named as the recipients of the Rita Board Dowd Awards for Outstanding Carroll County School Administrators. Addison leads with heart and works tirelessly to develop a sense of community that goes beyond official school events. She has a strong, dedicated, and reliable leadership style as a school principal and demonstrates a proficient understanding and administration of school policies. When making important decisions, she refers to and utilizes all available resources to ensure that all decisions are ethical and appropriate. Lois is committed to creating a positive and supportive environment and is dedicated to both students and staff. She makes everyone, students and staff alike, feel seen and heard, and regularly goes out of her way to recognize student and staff accomplishments and achievements, creating a culture of appreciation and encouragement. She is also deeply committed to addressing the challenges that students face when it comes to mental health and anxiety, and has an unwavering commitment to their well-being. Liberty High School has received a certification as a Maryland Green School from the Maryland Association for Environmental and Outdoor Education. The school has demonstrated and documented a continuous effort to integrate sustainable environmental management practices, environmental education curriculum, professional development opportunities, and community engagement into its daily operations. The Green School Award signifies the school's commitment to developing stewards of the earth and reducing the school's impact on the environment. Congratulations to Environmental Club co-sponsor Stacy Nolan and everyone at Liberty for this recognition of their hard work, and also to South Carroll High School for renewing its Green School status. And finally, the Special Education Citizens Advisory Committee held its annual awards ceremony on May 1st. I would like to congratulate the 88 staff members who were nominated by their colleagues for recognition awards, and the 58 staff members who received appreciation awards presented by the families for their contributions to the growth, well-being, happiness, and achievement of students with educational disabilities. Congratulations as well to Tina Thoman, Assistant Principal at Manchester Valley High School, who received a Special Education Leadership Award. And before I give up the microphone here, I want to say again, congratulations to Chloe Kang. The best is yet to come for you.
Thank you, Dr. McCabe. Okay, we are currently moving on to item 3, presentations.
All right.
Dr. McCabe.
All right. So this evening, our presentation is going to be on Pillar 2 of our strategic plan, which is family and community partnerships. May is the scheduled month when we report on progress and updates to Pillar 2. Mr. Shockney and team are here to provide highlights and then respond to any discussion and questions. Mr. Shockney.
All right, thank you, Dr. McCabe. As always, we like to start off with a good objective, and as identified in our strategic plan, we do an annual report for each pillar. We're here tonight to talk about Pillar 2, which is family and community partnerships. I'm going to do a little presentation here, and then I have staff available if there's any questions. But as always, we want to make sure you're informed on what's working and where we're headed, and to make good decisions as a result of that. All right, so Pillar 2, and this is just some snips directly from the strategic plan. I'll remind our community members watching that our strategic plan is on the CCPS website for folks to access. But Pillar 2 is all about strengthening productive family and community partnerships. It's a big part of what we're all about. And then on the next slide, this is the exact snip, from the strategic plan. We have 1, 2, 3 identified priority focus areas for this pillar. They're listed on the left here, and we have a baseline from when we started in 2023. We have our progress in the 23-24 school year, and I'm here to update us on the 24-25 school year. We have pre-established targets for each area. So the first one, and I'm just going to go over the data, and then I'll circle back to each priority focus area with its own slide. The first priority focus area is that by 2026, 100% of schools in CCPS will participate in the Community Advisory Council, or CAC, meetings. I'm pleased to say that our target was 90% for this school year, and our performance was 100%. So we met that target. The second priority focus area focuses on apprenticeships and internships. And then we have specific targets that for apprenticeships over the 3-year period of the strategic plan, we wanted to grow from 2 to 25. The target for this school year was 15, and I'm pleased to say that we have 19 apprenticeships happening in our community. These are paid experiences through our students. And in order to be eligible for the apprenticeship, there's a lot of a lot of requirements for our employers to be able to do that. So we are expanding there. And internships, we've always had a large number of internships in our community, and our target for this year was 411, and we met that by having 440 internships happening in our community. So obviously under the blueprint, we want to grow our apprenticeships, and we're taking a very strategic approach to that, but we also want to provide opportunities for internships, and I think we're continuing to do a great job there. The third priority focus area focuses on posting solicitations, and then we wanted to be increasing what we're doing, and with that, this strategy is we prior to this past school year, we were kind of in the development stage. I will say that we're in the implementation stage of this strategic or this priority focus area, and I'll talk a little bit more about that there. But I've identified it as something that's currently being implemented, but I don't have a measurable target or performance just quite yet, but we're going to be getting there soon. So I want to take a step and just break each of the 3 areas down a little bit more. And again, I have staff here that can answer any specific questions, but 100% of our schools have a representative on the council. All of our employee groups and the Carroll County Student Government Association are represented on the council. 100% of those representatives are also parents in CCPS, which is a great thing. The committee has increased the number of meetings to 4 to 5 during the course of the school year, and that is the group that will often take your request for greater feedback and reflection as topics come out through over the course of the year. But they've had great attendance over the course of the year. Just a little bit more on apprenticeships and internships. I talked about the data increasing from 17 to 19 for the apprenticeships, which is a great thing. We've expanded them to include apprenticeships in the auto industry, healthcare, teaching, the National Security Administration, the Maryland Department of Transportation, and in the technology sector. So that's a great thing. Anyone listening out there who is interested in an apprenticeship, please feel free to reach out to us and we will get you contacted. We would love to be able to expand those opportunities for our students. Same thing with internships. We've increased from 438 during the 23-24 school year to 440 for this past school year. And we've had lots of internships with our local businesses and nonprofit groups in our community, so it's been a wonderful thing. Our career coaches, which is a strategy being implemented under the blueprint, are working hard to support our middle school students, to expose students to different industries and develop awareness and kind of spark some interest in potential careers for our students. And again, we'll continue to partner with local businesses to increase the number of approved sites for our apprenticeships through the Department of Labor and to make sure we're providing great opportunities for students there. A little bit more about posting solicitations. We've had some staffing changes in the purchasing department, plus some, it's been a pretty busy year for them with some major projects taking place. So again, I think we've gone from that planning phase to the implementation phase, which is great. We're adding additional advertising platforms and opportunities for engaging with vendors this coming summer. So effective July 1, we will be using public purchase for vendor registration, solicitation, advertisements, receipt of bids and proposals, addendums, and award notification. It's a free service and requires vendor registration, and there's a link there for vendors to go should they be interested. All right, with that, I will pause and answer any questions. No questions?
Board
All right.
members, any questions?
Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you. Next, we will move on to reports, and first we have 4A is school construction report. Dr. McCabe.
This is the monthly school construction report, which provides status updates on projects in design or construction. Mr. Marks is at a graduation, so Mr. Prokop is available if there are any questions.
I just have a question. It may not be for Mr. Prokop, but I'm not sure if you heard the news, but Maryland's bond rating has been lowered, and so I don't know if the bond rating being lowered would affect borrowing and capital projects, either current or future. Just wanted to get your initial thoughts on that. We're concerned about the loss of the AAA bond rating.
Suddenly, Mr. Marks looks like the smart one for not being here tonight. We haven't fully unpacked that yet, but it's a bit of a trickier question than it seems at face value, because the two entities involved, the state and the county, don't always, like, we always assume when we adopt a CIP, they immediately bid those projects, but they don't necessarily bid projects on that schedule. And sometimes, especially locally, they'll move cash in a given year and bid in out years. So that's probably something that I'm sure we'll get some additional feedback from the IAC at the state level, and there's probably a question, at least at this stage, better served to maybe Mr. Zaleski. So we'll be reaching out there to have that conversation.
Yeah, just something, again, I try to be the fiscal guy, but I'm really concerned about that. And but if we hear of, what kind of impact that'll have on our current and future capital projects, I'd really appreciate a heads up.
Yeah, and I watched yesterday's budget work session at the county, and I didn't hear that be a topic that Ted and his staff raised during their presentation of the final CIP project total. So, but we'll stay in tune with them and let you know.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? Dr. Malvo?
Yeah, I don't know if you can speak to this, but I'm intrigued by the coding expenditures report, and particularly with methodologies to make the coding process more efficient. Is that to help us economically? That's going to save us a good deal in doing so? I just want to know a little bit more about that, or if you could share a little bit about that, perhaps, John.
Dr. Malvo, are you referring to the blueprint report?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to cover that in a second.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I've jumped the gun.
No,
My
it's
bad.
okay.
Thank you.
But I would be interested in Mr. Prokop's answer.
Me too. We'll come back to it.
It'll be great.
I think I see his tap dancing shoes on right there.
I will just make a comment if it's okay. I'm happy to see all of the kindergarten additions, how we're beginning work there, and looking forward to August 2026 for completions. So that's all positive. Thank you.
All right, any other questions? Okay, all right, we're going to now move on to Blueprint Update Report. Dr. McCabe.
For the monthly blueprint update, we will focus on the waiver approval at the AIB and our next steps with that work. Mr. O'Neill will provide a brief presentation. However, before the presentation, I want to take a moment to thank those who worked so hard to make this waiver happen. The members of the board, the county commissioners, and the MSEA affiliated employee groups were all very active in supporting our waiver process, including signing formal letters in support of our waiver request. The members of the delegation were instrumental in making our case with state leaders and navigating the process with us. In particular, with his role on the House Appropriations Committee, Delegate Stanko worked full-time on this matter and guided us through various state discussions. And then there are community members. So many people attended town halls, called or emailed us, and most importantly, contacted state leaders. At the AIB, we know they had received hundreds of emails supporting a waiver before April 1st. Then they notified us that they would open an official record on April 1st, and that to be counted in that record, emails had to be received between April 1st and April 21st. We know from the AIB chair that at the time of the hearing, they had received 1,300 emails and counting. So this was truly a total community effort. Finally, I also want to thank the AIB staff and the AIB members. From beginning to end, Chairperson Ike Leggett conducted the process with professionalism and grace. We believed that our case was received and listened to, and we appreciated the interactions with the board. The same is true of Executive Director Heiss and her staff at the AIB. They were open and communicative through the process, providing us feedback, and helping us understand expectations at each step. I honestly believe that the process has strengthened our communication and mutual understanding and leaves us in a good place for the work moving forward. I'd also like to quickly address some feedback that I've received on Blueprint stating that we were not planning appropriately for the Blueprint or that we were not ready for Blueprint. For 3 years, we have been planning and trying to find ways to comply with Blueprint without taking too many resources from Southern schools to redistribute to other schools. It has taken 3 years for us to work with the state and come to an understanding of our fiscal and staffing realities. With a budget as large as ours, it takes time to unpack all of the information. And I will say that the consultants from APA have been wonderful working with us and understanding our current circumstances. So with that, I'll turn it over to Mr. O'Neill.
Thank you, Dr. McCabe, and good evening. I have brought some tissues with me because this can be a very emotional topic for me. And also, unfortunately, in full disclosure, I apologize. I'm having some sort of sinus-related nosebleed issue tonight, and I'm hoping that doesn't happen while I'm standing here. If I start bleeding, that should not reflect on my views on the AIB waiver process. So Dr. McCabe mentioned the dates. We had the hearing on the 17th, and Dr. McCabe presented our waiver request, did a wonderful job, and responded to questions and discussion from the AIB members and the chair. And we were hopeful headed in, although we did know just beforehand that maybe we would even get a decision that day, but Chair Leggett announced during the hearing that a decision would not be rendered that day, but that we would know no later than May 1. And then pretty quickly we found out that there would be a special meeting on the 28th, and both of those meetings are streamed, still available from the AIB's website or from their YouTube channel, so anyone can go back and watch them. And it was very, very good news, very pleasing to find that at the hearing, decision meeting rather, it was a unanimous vote of those members present of 6-0 to approve the waiver. And I think it's worth the watch if you've been following this. Why not follow it to the end? I thought the legal counsel, the assistant AG assigned to the AIB, a person named Heidi Dutterer, really did an excellent job of pretty succinctly summarizing our case, our waiver case, and I thought it was nice to see that we had communicated well, and that their counsel, in terms of a legal announcement, was able to turn that around and kind of read it back out loud to us. So that was helpful. So what does it mean? What is this waiver? What does the decision mean? What are the components of it? As we stated from the beginning, as Dr. McCabe stated very, very clearly in correspondence and verbally, we were never requesting to not have to comply with the law. We're not requesting a waiver of the requirements. We were requesting an extension of time to meet full compliance. And specifically, that time period isn't really defined in the law. It's defined in an AIB policy. And so we believed we were specifically asking for a waiver of their policy, an extension of their policy, if you will. And they have responded with the decision to give us through fiscal 28 to meet full compliance. So that's some good news. Different people view that differently. To me, that's 3 years to be in compliance. I know sometimes people say 2 years. I guess it depends on the start of the fiscal year or the end of the fiscal year. We're comfortable with that, particularly in light of, excuse me, the early work with the consultants, and we'll cover that a bit more. Dr. McCabe just discussed that a little bit too. There are also statutory grounds in the law in which school systems can apply, or boards of ed can apply for a waiver. And I think the law is set up more for a single school kind of a scenario, or individual schools. But when we reviewed those factors in the law, we also felt that one of those did apply in our case, even though we were sort of seeking a system-wide kind of an approach. And that is, if you experience a significant shift in a student population out of school from one year to the next, then that can be a grounds for a waiver. And so that became a part of our case. And I think it, based on the decision meeting and the statements made by members and by council, that clearly resonated with them. And in our case, we felt that this was a sufficient reason. This is a report, an excerpt of a report from the Department of Legislative Services of Maryland, from the General Assembly, that shows the increase in enrollment growth in compensatory ed students from from 23 to 24. And so this reflects the year that the state shifted from the more traditional way in which farms or compensatory ed students are identified, which historically was more about parents filling out forms proactively and being identified that way, to the state moving to something called direct certification, where families were automatically, or students were automatically placed in the compensatory ed enrollment count, whether or not necessarily parents had filled out the form. And so the state in that year saw a tremendous increase of comp ed enrollment, compensatory ed enrollment of 33.6%. So that was sort of the state average. But we led the state in Carroll County with an 86.3% increase. So almost tripling the statewide rate of increase, which was already outstanding. And the points Dr. McCabe was making at the hearing was we were Blueprint existed, and we were in our early stages of planning then, and suddenly the calculus for us shifts by almost 3 times that of the state, and certainly 86% more than we were looking at when we initially started our planning work. So that's a pretty tremendous increase. And then on top of that, it wasn't until May of 24 that the AIB adopted Joint Policy Number 2 that set the timeline. So then there's sort of another shift in where this is all going and on what timeline. Also, curiously, where we're seeing in those two, so this is 23 to 24 and then 24 to 25, or the last column, the change from 23 to 25, so it takes into account both years. Where we're seeing the most rapid percentage growth of compensatory ed enrollment in our schools is at what we're now referring to by our plan, our compliance plan, our Tier 1 schools. So it's the schools who have the lowest percentages of compensatory ed students who are where we're seeing the highest growth rates, at least for these 2 years. And, part of our thought process there is, you've seen our plan, the community has seen our plan, and their reaction has been very clear to it. But we want to be very, very careful here, AIB, about the level of resources we're moving from those schools in that yellow band, knowing that we're being sort of run down by the data. Like that's where the highest growth is happening. So we were concerned about the shift in resources anyway, and now we recognize we're shifting resources from a place where from places or schools where they're more increasingly needed over time. So we pulled that data out, those data out. They were in Dr. McCabe's presentation, but that was clearly a compelling factor to the AIB members. Also, a component of this decision was that we would engage with consultants from the AIB from a company called APA Consulting. We had already entered into that relationship even before the hearing, so that work was a little bit underway by the time of the hearing and has continued in earnest since. And we'll do a little bit more on this in a second, but in general, we're working with our consultants to look at our data, validate our data that backs up our plan, look at our strategies and see if there's any refinements that can be made to those strategies, or maybe they have new strategies and different strategies that we hadn't necessarily considered here locally in our in Superintendent McCabe's fiscal compliance work group that she had formed last summer that had about 40 different stakeholder members who were part of that. And then in time, as there are results coming out of the work with APA, we will revise our plan, and we'll certainly present that plan here, but we'll also take that plan back out and make it very public, because that'll be how we now move forward on this new timeline of the waiver to comply. And we're very hopeful, and I'd say even a little bit optimistic, even though it's at the early stages, that we'll be able to now bring through this work a plan that should be much more acceptable than the original plan from January, February, and March was. And then lastly, it's just sort of an acknowledgement of this whole process and the grace offered here by the AIB. This gives our community, and I think all of us in the community, a much needed just opportunity to kind of take a deep breath. We're not quite under the same pressure and facing that level of change. Take a deep breath, work on the plan, and then move forward from there. So what does this work look like? The earliest steps are us sending them our data and having them look at our data. That has happened. We haven't had any feedback that questions our data or says, wow, you were really way off on your data, and there you go. It can be fixed that simply. It seems to be a pretty broad general acceptance that our data is our data, and that is the challenge in front of us and now in front of our work with them. I do think that by the end of this summer, we'll have some early initial findings. It won't be sort of a final report or a new plan, but we'll have some initial findings to kind of guide the second stages of the work, and I would think that APA will have a final report out somewhere later in this coming fiscal year after July 1, the fiscal year that starts on July 1, maybe mid-year, and then we'll take that work, we'll take those findings, and we'll make adjustments to the plan that we have out in the public, and we hopefully, as I said, will have a much more agreeable plan after that. Dr. Malveaux, coding expenditures. So what does that mean? And this was the term that was used at the hearing with the Q&A that day. If you were to read our plan, we tended to use the verbiage maximizing expenditures or maximizing blueprint expenditures. They used the term coding. But what this refers to is, and what we're complying with, is how we spend our money. And I know for a lot of folks in the community, this is very confusing because we're having this conversation while we're having our budget conversation. And so it's like, this is a budget issue. This is about not having enough money. Blueprint compliance is about how you spend your money, regardless of how much money you have. Whether you get more money next year or the same money next year, it's how you spend that money. And how the state holds us accountable, holds all local school systems accountable, is by how we code expenditures. So you have your budget. We have a budget that lays out like every other county board of ed in the state, because you're required to produce them that way by major categories. But this is beyond that. This is the money, regardless of which category it's in the budget. We have to show that it's being spent at the school level on a pattern that Blueprint requires based on the student populations. And so we have to then code all of the expenditures of the school system to where they're happening. We have to charge them to where they're happening. So we have to show that these things, usually people, are legitimately coded to a school and to a Blueprint program at the school. For instance, compensatory ed, they're there providing, that human being, that employee is at that school providing compensatory ed services to compensatory ed students, or multilingual learner services to multilingual learner students. And so a big part of compliance is about showing those expenditures in the right place. And I'm jumping ahead a slide maybe, but a very encouraging part of the early work with the APA consultants is a mutual recognition that we could use a little more guidance there as to what is a legitimate expenditure, and more importantly, from a methodology standpoint, Dr. Malveaux, how do we make that happen reasonably with our human resources, not our Mr. Diaz department, but our staff, our level of staffing in Mr. Burke's office. So Mr. Burke has 2 budget folks in Carroll County Public Schools. We have a supervisor of budget and a budget specialist or analyst. And to give you one example of what that last bullet could refer to, part of our early Blueprint changes in the plan that have already moved forward, we made changes at the A&S level this year, or we're making them for next year. We took our 4 content coordinators in central office. Now, realistically, everyone knows who those folks are and what they do. They are the content coordinators for the 4 core areas. Everyone knows that they help develop curriculum in the 4 core areas. They support teachers in the 4 core. They do all of those things at the school level. But for Blueprint, we have to show them at the school level in the programs. And so Mr. Shockney has sort of has adjusted their job descriptions a little bit to show that those folks going forward will have a K-12 focus on improving the learning outcomes of compensatory ed students in their content area that they represent: English, math, science, social studies. So that's easy to say on paper, right? I wrote that in 10 minutes and put it in the report. But Mr. Burke's folks have to now code the cost of a human being to 40 different locations in our school system in the comp ed program. And that becomes a very complicated process. And so what we're trying to say is we don't have the human power to really do the tedious accounting work required to make that happen through the process as we understand it, which is something they call journaling entries. How can we do that efficiently? We're not going to grow our budget office, unfortunately, because our focus is at the schools where it should be. So those kinds of things is what methodologies mean. How can we do that in a way that you understand we're doing what we're supposed to be doing, we're complying with the true spirit of Blueprint, but Drew Sexton doesn't have to stay up to 2 a.m. every morning trying to code individual people to 40 different locations by a program. It's some of that, and then it's also some of what are legitimate expenditures. And we could talk about that too in the same context. One of the reasons, as you could probably feel, we're a little optimistic about this work is kind of the initial thing was data review, and then it was, okay, what should our first steps be together with the consultants? And what they have approached us with after their data review is let's put let's not put aside, but let's pause on the compliance of every program, and let's start with what is a base school. And I know in our plan we refer to a base school. This isn't exactly the same thing as how it is in our plan. This is a bit of a different approach. And what they're saying is let's just for a minute let's put aside comp ed and ML and all of those student areas and programs, and let's focus on what do you need to run any school. What has to be in a school for it to run, period, regardless of exactly how the student population is comprised. You need teachers, you need an administrator, you need this, that, and the other. And they're giving us a model, and they're comparing what we actually do have in a school, and we're trying to merge those things together into, we can all agree this is an acceptable base school. Every school needs this, regardless of the exact student population. And then what we hope to do with them is say, okay, if that's the essential base school model, we need those things in every school, how much of the base state funding or combined local and state funding, what we call the foundation, can pay for that? Can we pay for all of that base school with foundation money or not? And if not, then what does that mean for the other buckets of compliance? Is there some flexibility there? And I know this is probably a little bit tedious and arcane to people listening, but that's been kind of our core topic throughout this, that we don't feel we have the funding needed in foundation to get there. And as a result, we're moving things from certain schools to other schools that we would consider essential to the running of the school. And so to have the work start there with them has been very, very, very positive and encouraging to us. And we don't find ourselves, or at least from our view, we don't find ourselves philosophically apart, or we don't understand each other. We're coming at this conversation in a very mutually understanding way, and they seem to be hearing what we're saying, and we're certainly listening to what they're saying and being very receptive to this. So this work is very, very important, not only for Carroll County, but I think there's also an opportunity here. And I'm not trying to say I've heard anyone at the AIB say these words necessarily, but I almost feel like we have an opportunity to kind of be a model school system view of this for the whole state, and that possibly through our work after the waiver, the AIB may even eventually have in some fashion or another more guidance, more detailed guidance for all of the school systems in Maryland. And so that's a win not only for us here, but I think for the whole state. So there's a lot of, I know it was certainly a tough spring and winter, but there's a lot of opportunities for some positives now going forward that we are where we are. And so we're very happy with how the work's turning out early, and we're very optimistic about where it could go. And with all of these things together, the coding of certain expenditures and taking this approach, we're feeling very hopeful, I guess I would say, that we will be able to produce a different plan, a changed plan sometime in the winter that would be much less impactful on all of the schools in our system than the first pass has been.
Mr. Neal, I'm going to pause for a moment and just see if any of the board members have questions. I saw a couple cards. Ms. Zimmer.
Thank you, Mr. O'Neill. One of my biggest concerns when Blueprint was playing out earlier this spring, well, late winter, rather, was the loss of reading specialists, math specialists, and interventionists in some of our schools. So as you and your team are modeling building out this base school idea, will those positions be built in there?
Mm-hmm. Those are exactly the kinds of conversations that are here on this screen. some of those things that we have, and maybe they use slightly different terms, but it's kind of, it's the similar vocabulary. It means the same thing. Also, things that we've never had in every school, Ms. Zimmer, like a teacher mentor. We would love to have had a mentor for every school's teachers, but we have 3 for the entire school system. So it's the things everyone would know exist in a school, teachers, an AP, and a principal, but it's also those, what we call instructional support resources that you really need in a school to survive. So whether it's specifically a reading specialist and specifically a math specialist, they may say a teacher specialist or coordinator or something like that, but it means roughly the same thing. And then there's even some other things that, they've entered into the conversation where we're like, yes, we would love to consider those things part of a base school. We've never been able to afford those things long before Blueprint came along, So, yes, all of those things are very much a part of this.
Just because I believe it's critical to have those supports for student achievement, and the idea of pulling them out is not great.
Right. It was certainly, I'm sure it was very stressful for everyone in the community. It was stressful for those of us who were part of it. And now we're sort of beyond that, and we could take that deep breath. I guess what I'm getting at is this work has been very encouraging early, because what we haven't heard is your data was all wrong. If you had better data, if you understood, they're not saying that. They're saying, we understand your data. We see where you're coming from. And it's kind of edifying that they're saying, okay, at some level we understand Carroll's situation. We get this. And I think there's been some power in the approach we've taken, even though that's been stressful sometimes. The town halls for a couple of years clearly mattered to them, the amount of public engagement. I think the fact that the approach we took was that Dr. McCabe took was to form a committee of about 40 people to try to deal with this. And she made decisions to, from the very beginning, have labor on that work group. We had 3 folks from county government who we knew would become part of this conversation, just because this is complicated stuff too, just generally it's complicated, to try to build that community capacity to get there. I feel like there's some true appreciation of where we've been, and now it's just about, okay, what can we do realistically together to make this a little more agreeable?
Feels good to be heard.
I think Dr. McCabe said this in her, it has improved by just because of the process. It has improved communication, and I think, and it's 2 ways. It's improved a mutual understanding of what we're each saying and where we're coming from, and that's a good thing. In the end, that's a good thing.
Dr. Dorsey?
Yeah, I just had a question about the base school. Is it going to look different based on level, or is it for all schools, elementary through high?
I think different. Nick, you want to? I think different at each level. At least
That's what I was thinking, but
Yeah, in our base models that I've developed and shared with them, yes, it's very differentiated at each level, because the structure and the scheduling and how we do things at each level is very different. So yeah, and I think that will continue to be the case moving forward.
okay, thanks.
And I think the only other thing I was going to say, because it was a point Dr. McCabe had made at the hearing that I think merits us saying. Another thing I think, Ms. Zimmer, maybe to that prior question that we want to make sure people understood, and I feel confident they did, is we haven't been sitting here not doing Blueprint things. We've had a lot of successes in many, many Blueprint areas, and unfortunately this has been the dominant Blueprint conversation, because it has to be. It's that significant. But I think they were aware we've had a lot of successes in all of the other pillars of Blueprint, some of which are listed here, and I won't go through each of them. And maybe now is a chance in that sort of breathing space, and if there's a plan that's much more acceptable and much less impactful, we have a chance to tell a more positive general Carroll County success story with Blueprint. And so there's some good things coming out of there as well, because you have a lot of folks in this room and not in this room working very hard in all of these areas every day and achieving really good things. And not in every case, but in more than you would think, other counties calling saying, hey, how did you pull that off? How did you do that? Other counties might struggle with a certain I don't want to go specific of a certain part of this, and we don't seem to have those struggles. We have sound partnerships locally. We have compliant MOUs with other agencies where they're required. We're doing really well with Blueprint overall, and we haven't been able to really sort of let that be as known as it should be, because this has been such a big focus, and now it feels like there's some really positive movement on fiscal compliance as well.
Dr. Malva, did you have any questions?
No, I just wanted to, I'm nodding here saying thank you for all the work that you did, the superintendent did, putting this waiver forth and all that hard work, and Josh Stanko and others. You did it. Thank you. And the community as well, rallying around everybody. We're at a great point. I appreciate that.
Sure. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, we are now going to move on. Oh, Chloe, did you have any questions? Okay. We are now going to move on to public comments. Mr. Whistler.
Thank you, Madam President. To have an orderly presentation of comments by the public, the following guidelines apply. Speakers with a connection to CCPS will be allowed to address the board for the allotted 3 minutes. Only those speakers that have registered online and have been notified by the Communications Department will be permitted to speak. Priority will be given to those citizens that are addressing the board about an item on the current agenda. Citizens not appearing in person for public comment can write to the board through email or U.S. mail. Public participation is not intended to be a question and answer session. However, if citizens have specific questions, the superintendent will assign a staff member to make contact during the board meeting to arrange a time to respond to questions. The superintendent and board reserve the right to correct misinformation presented as factual after the conclusion of the public participation period. Statements to the board should relate to a recent agenda item, an agenda item that is expected to appear in the future, or a matter of general policy over which the board has authority. Personnel matters, pending appeals, the actions or statements of individual staff, or items related to employee negotiations are not appropriate topics and may not be discussed. The board has scheduled time on the agenda for public participation at approximately 5:15. The board reserves the right to limit the number of speakers on a particular topic so that all topics may be addressed. Additionally, the board retains the discretion to allow additional speakers as it deems appropriate. The board is allowing no more than an hour for public participation. Comments are limited to 3 minutes or less. All comments should be directed to the board members at the dais. Citizens may only address the board with their individual comments. Citizens may not stand in for another person or group and read their comments. When the allotted time expires, the speaker is permitted to complete a sentence. Citizens may leave any handouts for board members at the table at the back of the boardroom. Please do not approach the dais. Additionally, the public may not display signs or posters during the board meeting. In lieu of signs, or if you are unable to complete your comments in the allotted time, individuals are encouraged to submit remarks to the board in writing. Those seated in the audience are asked to be respectful of the speaker and refrain from commenting to the speaker or to the board members. This evening we have 3 speakers. The first is Hassan Moasser, and I hope I pronounced your name correctly.
Good enough. Moasser.
Moasser.
All right. I timed this and it was like 3:10, so let me get it through. All right. Good afternoon, Dr. McCabe and members of the board. My name is Hassan Moasser, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you this evening in support of the application from the Carroll Learning Alliance to establish the county's first public charter school. My wife and I are proud parents of 2 young children, ages 4 and 5, and we live in the southern part of the county near downtown Sykesville. Like many families, we're deeply invested in our children's future and in the quality of education available in our community. That's why I'm here, to speak not just as a parent, but as someone who believes in expanding access to strong, diverse educational options for all students in Carroll County. I believe that education should do more than just prepare students for tests. It should prepare them for life. Classical education does that by focusing on timeless skills, critical thinking, clear communication, and strong moral character. It's built on the idea that students learn best when they're taught how to think, not just what to think. Through a curriculum that focuses on logic, rhetoric, classical literature, and even Latin, classical education connects us to the roots of history, philosophy, and the foundation of democracy. It challenges students to engage with big ideas, ask hard questions, and reflect on what it means to live a good and meaningful life. That's the kind of challenge we and others want for our children. A charter school that embraces this approach gives students a real choice to learn in a setting that values depth over shortcuts and wisdom over noise. We want them to be in an environment that encourages responsibility, curiosity, and respect. These aren't just academic values, they're life values. I hope you'll support the approval of a charter school that offers this kind of education. Not every student learns the same way, but every student deserves the chance to learn in a way that inspires them to grow. For us, that's classical education. I'd also like to touch on a common concern that's been trending online amongst our community, that public charter schools take money from traditional public schools. The reality is more nuanced, and in many cases, charter schools can bring additional resources into a county. An example of this was recently proven when the Carroll Learning Alliance was awarded a sub-grant of $1.6+ million to launch Carroll Classical Charter School under the Maryland Momentum Project Charter School Program funded by the U.S. Department of Education's Charter Schools Program. This award shows how charter schools can attract outside money into the county without burdening local taxpayers. Lastly, there seems to be this us versus them mentality amongst the community regarding the charter school. The charter school is about the students, the kids. I want to make something very clear. This is not an us versus them situation. Supporting a public charter school in our county is not about being against traditional public schools. It's about recognizing the students have different needs and one size does not fit all. Charter schools are public schools. We're all on the same team, working towards the same goal, giving every student the best possible education. Families who seek a classical charter school aren't trying to divide the community. They're just asking for the opportunity to learn in a way that fits their values and learning styles. When we support options like classical charter school, we're not turning away from our public education system. We're strengthening it. We're saying that every student deserves a choice and that high-quality education can come in more than one form. This isn't about competition. It's about collaboration, creativity, and commitment to what's best for kids. We can support both traditional public schools and innovative charter models. And when we do that, everyone benefits, especially, most importantly, the students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our second of three speakers this evening is Ms. Joni Gutierrez-Palco. Gutierrez, I'm sorry.
Yes, but in
Gutierrez.
English, it's Gutierrez.
Got it. Yes, ma'am.
It's hard for people.
Thank you.
All right, let's see if I can get mine down too. Okay, when did we start? Okay, so my name is Joni Gutierrez-Palco. I am a parent here of 2 children in the Carroll County Public Schools. Well, I did. I'm here in support of the new charter school. I'm hoping that you will approve the proposal. As members of the Board of Education, I believe that you all support diverse, effective, and accessible educational opportunities for all students. With that in mind, I am proposing that you do approve of this charter school. We all recognize that children are not cookie-cutter learners. Every student has unique needs, learning styles, and potential. So I ask, why not offer another public option in Carroll County? One that reflects a different educational approach and supports families seeking an alternative. Many other counties across Maryland, including Baltimore and Frederick, have embraced charter schools as successful tuition-free public options that benefit students and families. I, along with many others, believe Carroll County can and should do the same. As we all know, charter schools returns to the fundamentals of learning through a classic education model, an approach with a long and proven track record of academic success. Importantly, this charter school represents an equitable opportunity for families who value classical education but cannot afford private school tuition. This charter school will be a public tuition-free option, increasing access, ensuring that more families have the chance to choose what best serves their children's needs. We all must acknowledge the challenges facing our current public school system. Many schools across the nation and here in Maryland are failing short of academic benchmarks, as clearly reflected in recent national and state report cards. As a parent, I see the goal of the board being to pursue every avenue that can help students succeed, and the charter school offers one such path. Additionally, with the recent and projected growth in Carroll County, particularly in the Eldersburg area, there is a growing need for additional educational infrastructure. This would help alleviate overcrowding at no capital cost to the district, making it both a fiscally responsible and educationally sound solution. Community interest further confirms the need and desire for this school. We have already held multiple information sessions and have generated significant community support with a wait list of over 200 students. Clearly, families are looking for this kind of opportunity. Moreover, the model proposed is based in part on the success of Frederick Classical Charter School, which is currently ranked the #1 elementary charter school in Maryland by U.S. News and World Report. For all these reasons, equity, innovation, community need, academic rigor, and fiscal responsibility, We believe that the charter school will be a valuable and needed addition to our public education system. And on a personal note, I know this would benefit my son. We have tried public school only to find that my son was ignored and left behind because the teachers could not seem to adjust to my son's learning style. So my husband and I pulled him and enrolled him in the private school, and he did thrive for a little while until the school's methodologies no longer could suit our son's learning style. So from attending multiple information sessions and doing the deep dive on how charter schools and classical education works, I know wholeheartedly that this would be the best method of
finish your
instruction
thoughts.
for my son. Sorry, I just made it, sorry. And that's all I have. I'm just hoping that you guys will support the measure to endorse the school.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you.
Blanco. Our final speaker of the evening is Mr. Josh Wilhide.
I don't know about all that. Good evening, Board. I'm here tonight to actually talk about some recent communications about banned books. But I guess before I dive into what I wanted to talk about, I'll just mention the charter schools real quick. I'm not against the charter schools, actually. I just dissent in that this is not the appropriate timing for it. We're in a budget crisis, and I understand that we are getting outside money with the $1.6 million, but these are CCPS teachers and will be continually paid through them. Also, I dissent in the fact that the charter schools can limit their classroom caps to 20 students per room. If that's something that standard CCPS can't do, then I don't believe the charter schools should be allowed to actually cap the student class sizes. Class sizes has obviously been a very important topic inside the community discussions because the increased class size that Blueprint was going to initially be looking at us was actually what was the driving factor behind it. So I'm just asking for what is fair is fair. If Carroll County Public Schools cannot cap their students, I don't believe the charter schools should be allowed to cap their student class sizes as well. So what I'm actually here for today is actually make a clear understanding that we are engaging in book banning here in CCPS. A lot of the stuff that I've gone through has kind of led me to this. So I have requested through the Public Information Act the official banned book list from Carroll County. I also asked for a clarification from CCPS directly, and the official word is that when a book is removed, it is physically removed from the libraries itself. If you look up the word ban in Google or dictionary, it says to officially prohibit. So when a book is removed from the library, it is officially prohibited, so therefore the book is banned. So as my last 1 minute and 18 seconds, I'm just going to read off the public list of books that I've received through the Public Information Act because it was surprisingly difficult to get here. A Quart of Silver Flames, Deal With It, Milk and Honey, Slaughterhouse-Five, The Perks of Being Wallflower, Water for Elephants, Perfect, A Quart of Thomas and Rose, Shine, A Quart of Mystery and Fury, Doing It, November 9th, a novel, People Kill People, A Quart of Wings, Red Hood, Blankets, It Ends With Us, The Duff, Empire of Storms, Looking for Alaska, Kingdom of Ash, What Girls Are Made Of, Not All Boys Are Blue, Houses of Earth and Blood, Identical, and They Are Lived, A Quart of Frost and Starlight, Breathless, Forever, Forever for a Year, House of Sky, Lucky, Tricks. Let's Talk About It, A Clash of Kings. Oddly enough, one of the books that were requested to be removed, the Holy Bible, was actually retained, and I find that the Holy Bible actually has a lot of sexual explicit content in it, so I dissent in that we are continually banning books in our schools and that we should need to do a better job. I yield my time back.
Thank you, Mr. Wilhide. That concludes public comment. Next up, Madam President.
Thank you, Mr. Whistler. Next up will be our employee groups.
Good job.
I won't forget.
Good evening, Superintendent McCabe and members of our Board of Education. I am Cindy Porter, a special education paraprofessional in Carroll County Public Schools, and the president of CASE, representing clericals, assistants, and paraprofessionals in CCPS. As said before this evening, our school system can finally take a breath. Unbelievable amounts of effort, dedication, and collaboration from all various parties on the AIB compliance issue finally paid off. We've been given a waiver to continue to work together with the AIB and their partners to find a way to make the intentions of the blueprint for Maryland's future come to fruition without having the implementation process necessitate the devastating cuts that I believe were never part of the plan. While the leadership in our school system has been hard at work for the past few years on this issue, many in our community said they were caught off guard, as I have heard mentioned on several occasions. I'm grateful for the community's support of the additional operational funding for Carroll County Public Schools at the County Commissioner's public budget hearing last week, and thank those who spoke that evening. I'm hopeful, like many others, that the additional funding will be adopted by the County Commissioners at the end of this month. As a staff member in our school system, and as other leaders in our community have said, this is not a time for any of us to become complacent. Community involvement, as evidenced by more than 1,300 emails to the AIB in support of our waiver request, holds weight and is heard. With that being said, I humbly ask the adults in our communities to please stay involved and seek out facts and background on the important issues. Factual information is so important for the serious issues our school system is facing at the local and state levels these days. And while it is easy for our emotions to become involved, emotions should not be the basis for impacting those important decisions. On another note, May is a month of recognition and celebrations on many fronts. As a few of those, last week we celebrated Teacher Appreciation Week and School Nurse Appreciation Week. As representative for part of the team of educators who serve the students in our county, I want to express gratitude for the teachers in Carroll County Public Schools, who also do more in one day than many can fathom. Your efforts do not go unnoticed, and we are fortunate to work alongside you. Last week was also School Nurse Appreciation Week. If you think you know what a school nurse does in the course of their day, all I can say is that you're probably only partway down their list. Thank you to our school nurses for the constant and consistent care you provide to the students in our county. Also, thank you to the local PTAs, PTOs, and businesses, local businesses, who supported those 2 weeks of appreciation in our schools. It was much appreciated by staff. May is also Mental Health Awareness Month. Mental health awareness has never been more at the forefront since the pandemic. As educators, we have seen and continue to see the need for increases in mental health services for more students than we could have ever imagined. Carroll County Public Schools has put more resources into mental health for our students in the last year. Even with those in place, as a school system and community, we also need to consider the mental health impact on our staff in dealing with these increased needs of the students. Mental health awareness is something for everyone to think about. Lastly, members of the class of 2025 are eagerly anticipating the upcoming graduations, enjoying prom, and all of the other events that are part of this milestone. As president of CASE, I want to wish the members of this graduating class the very best now and as they pursue their passions in the future. To the class of 2025, please remember that sometimes being uncomfortable is an indicator of a chance to grow. And know that failure is not something to be ashamed of. It is just an opportunity for you to grow in a way you might not have anticipated. Thank you.
Good evening, Superintendent and board members, and Chloe, congratulations as you head off. I really getting to know you last year on CAC. We're always very insightful. Congratulations, Ms. Battaglia, on your college degree. So, CCA and CCPS are currently in negotiations, which kind of limits what I really can say. So I'm going to be recycling part of my Board of Commissioners speech from last week. That meeting wasn't well attended, so I'm hoping maybe more people get to see this on this live stream. I want to begin by thanking everyone who came together across political parties and perspectives for working towards a shared goal of helping Carroll County Public Schools. Members of the Carroll County Board of Education who made the request to secure more funding for CCPS. No funding comes without asking, and you asked. Carroll County Commissioners who made commitments to an additional $13 million over the planned CCPS budget to meet operational costs, which will allow CCPS to honor the 3 collective bargaining agreements with support staff unions and help the bus drivers. Carroll elected state officials, Senator Reedy and Delegate Stanco, and others who put aside their personal and political opinions about the blueprint to do what is best for Carroll County public students. Paul Lemley, MSEA President, and Sean Johnson, Executive Director of MSEA, who worked with Senator Reedy, Delegate Stanco, and CCA, and for their willingness to collaborate, listen, and find common ground. To the superintendent and her CCPS staff, who included the Certified Educators Union in the Blueprint Fiscal Compliance Work Group from the very beginning, so that we had a better understanding of all aspects of Blueprint implementation. Over the last 3 years, CCPS and CCA have been working collaboratively to meet a variety of Blueprint obligations. Last year, we were able to create and implement a career ladder with the required $60,000 starting salary. We were actually doing some really good work on some 60/40 stuff too when all this kind of fell apart. To our incredible community, thank you. Your support has meant so much to the educators across our county. Whether you showed up to meetings, wrote letters, shared your voice, or stood outside meetings with supportive signs, your actions made a real difference. In times when it matters most, you chose to speak up for our students and educators, and in doing so, showed just how much the community values public education. Your efforts remind us that real progress happens when we put community first and focus on what unites us. As we move forward, I encourage everyone to stay engaged. The work is not over, and your continued involvement is essential. By staying informed, speaking out, and holding decision makers accountable, we can keep pushing for strong public schools for our students and educators. Last week, as Ms. Porter mentioned, was National Teacher Appreciation Week, which is always celebrated the first full week of May. While it is Teacher Appreciation Week, don't forget about all the people who make a difference in a student's life. There are classroom teachers, media specialists, school counselors, speech language pathologists, occupational therapists, physical therapists, registered nurses, interventionists, occupational therapist assistants, physical therapist assistants, parent educators, teacher mentors, reading specialists, math specialists, mental health therapists, the Judy Center Learning Community teachers, the JROTC instructors, academic facilitators, Birth to 5 Education Services, high school facilitator of student support, the ESOL teachers, advanced academic educators, career connection coordinators, and behavioral support specialists. Special education educators who work with students from birth to age 21 in a variety of settings in the classroom, Learning for Independence, BEST, and Success programs, and also the Transition Academy, to name a few. Once again, I encourage all parents and students to write a note to their educators. Every teacher I know has a box of notes which help inspire and refuel them when they are struggling. I still have my box at CCA. And I hope I included everyone on that list. I only say it like once a year. I hope no one got left off. To finish, as the African proverb goes, it takes a village to raise a child. Our students do best when they have the full support of our community and all those many educators that I listed. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we are now going to move on to action items. Let's see, so first one is 6A. Do I have a motion to approve board agenda item 6A?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey,
Second.
and second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
Okay, this is the approval of the award of bids, and there are 5 items on the award of bids this evening. The first is an emergency chiller at Northwest Middle School. Late April, early May is when we convert our school HVAC systems for summer use, and it's also when we learn if there are any major repairs required to any of the systems. When we identify complex repair issues that will require time to remediate, we may exercise emergency procurement to bring in temporary items for the comfort of staff and students. These first 2 items reflect that process. The second is an emergency chiller at Mechanicsville Elementary School. Next is to furnish and install walk-in coolers and freezers at 4 different schools. These next 3 items are part of the food service program and are funded through the food service budget. The first is for the purchase and installation of walk-in coolers and freezers at FSK, Winfield, Piney Ridge, and Manchester Elementary. Next is the purchase of food and non-food supplies. This is an annual contract for the purchase of food and supplies for the food services program. And finally, Sole Source Heartland software. This is the annual maintenance contract for support of our point-of-sale software used in our school cafeterias. Questions?
Dr. Malvo?
I just have one, if this can be addressed. The chillers with that situation, I know it's a month-to-month rental, installation, removal, all that is a certain cost. How many months do you think we'll need it? And is it sort of like cable television or internet where can we bundle and maybe do like a couple months at a time and it'd be less than the month-to-month rental? Can we negotiate that?
I'll ask Mr. Prokop to start wandering up. In my memory of past times, I don't know that there was savings for sort of like saying multiple months at a time. It's always a choice based on factors. So like at Mechanicsville, we thought we might be able to make the repair. If you go back to that moment in time, the next week was the first time it was peaking above 80. And because we weren't 100% sure we could get there, we made the decision to bring it in. And so we wouldn't anticipate that one being there necessarily as long. The one at Northwest Middle is a much more complicated situation. So you might remember we had a temporary chiller there the past year or two, but then also you approved the purchase of a chiller. And so there is a new chiller at Northwest Middle, but when we were in the process of making the connections to begin to run the new permanent chiller, the cold water loop on the system, we flushed those lines, and you're talking about huge industrial lines to make sure everything's ready to go. We were and still are pumping out lots and lots of mud and sludge. So obviously that uncovered that there's leaks in the cold water loop. And so I would anticipate that one would be there longer because we're going to have to either figure that out or create a new loop. Or did Ray ever make it here? I don't know if he even has an update.
I don't know. You were doing such a great job. I didn't want to interrupt.
Do you have a status on either?
Yes, I mean we're making progress with Northwest. So we're slowly getting the piping cleaner and cleaner. It's 50-year-old piping. It's some of the worst we've seen. The school is scheduled to have an HVAC upgrade within the next few years. We're working on that design now. It's just all coming apart at the wrong times, and but we do seem to be getting ahead of the issues at Northwest. With Mechanicsville, it's a little bit different in that we've got to restart the unit before we can know if there are any more problems with it. So that one is but we feel more comfortable with that one. But to your original question, there's no real bundling kind of a situation going on. These are unique pieces of equipment. The companies charge what they charge for the monthly rental, but we'll only keep them as long as necessary, and that would be the only additional cost is that monthly rental, because everything else was bundled in terms of installation and removal and the first month.
Any other questions? All right, I call for the vote. All in favor? Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Let's see. All right, board members, for this item for 6B, I believe that we're going to need to have individual motions for each budget approval action. With that in mind, I would like to ask Dr. McCabe to make introductory comments first.
So by state law, the board must approve our annual operating budget by the major categorical totals contained in state law. That approval is then submitted to the county to be incorporated into the approval of the county operating plan. At this time, the commissioners have set a preliminary budget total for us, and we have no indication that it is likely to change. Therefore, we can bring the categorical totals to you at this meeting. In addition, the board must approve the Food Services Fund and Debt Services Fund separately. Finally, we also ask the board to approve the final CIP total project totals, which reflect the final budget actions of the General Assembly and county. So, Ms. Battaglia, as you said, it's best if the board president calls each motion separately, and at that time, the staff will display the appropriate totals on the screen for the vote.
Okay. All right, so for the first, I'm going to say it's 6-1, and that is the approval, a motion for the fiscal year 26 operating fund budget by category. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey,
I'll second.
and a second by Mr. Whistler. Mr. O'Neill.
So I'm displaying those major categorical totals on the screen, and I know you have them in your packet as well, and this dates back to a previous item tonight. This is how we have to, every Board of Ed has to create its budget by what the categories are in the law. And this is also what the commissioners will approve and incorporate in their budget. I'm a little late arriving with this, but I did watch the most recent work session of the budget work session of the commissioners today, but it was yesterday. And my takeaway from watching that and listening was I do think they have moved from preliminary to that is the final budget, and they moved it forward. So I don't even think it's any question at this point.
So you want to take?
All right, so we're going to go ahead and have the vote. So do I have a vote for 6.1 fiscal year 26 operating fund budget by category? Call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any noes? Okay, that passes unanimously. Next will be 6.2. This is the approval of fiscal year 26 food service fund budget. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Malvo. Second by Mr. Whistler.
And this fund, as you know, is self-supporting. It's the closest thing we have to like an enterprise fund. So this isn't, the program funds itself either through meal sales or through federal reimbursement.
Any comments or questions? All right, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Next is 6.3, approval of the fiscal year 26 debt service fund budget.
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler,
I'll second that.
second by Dr. Dorsey.
And debt service is the amount that the county pays on our behalf for active bonds on school construction projects. And so this is a number that they define, but you have to vote on to approve, but you can't change it even if you wanted to. So.
I just want to make a comment again with the state losing its AAA bond rating again. If you know of any kind of deviation or significant change to that, I'd really appreciate a heads up for this and the next item, number 4. But just wanted to state that for the record. Thank you.
I'll message Mr. Zalewski either tonight or in the morning and ask.
Okay, all right, now call for the vote. All those signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Pass unanimously. And then next is 6.4, the approval of the FY26 capital improvement fund budget. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Dorsey. A second by Dr. Malvo. Mr. O'Neill.
And so you adopt your capital budget request in October of every year, and it goes to both the state and the county. In recent years, we've tried to make more of a point of coming back at this same time period to say, you sent your request to those two bodies, and they have acted, and here are the actual final project totals. So again, you really can't change these because they're either set by General Assembly state funding or by the capital plan, but we do ask that you just make it formal by recognizing what those totals turned out to be project by project.
All right, any comments or questions? I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Passes unanimously. Next, we have on the agenda 6C, approval of the 2025-2026 special education staffing plan. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Malvo. Second by Ms. Zimmer. Dr. McCabe.
State regulations require that each Board of Education submit an annual special education staffing plan to MSDE. As we have not added many new positions in recent years, annual changes tend to be more about balancing service hours and caseload amid and among existing staff. We also balance annually budgeted FTE external contracted services. Ms. Whittle, Director of Special Education, is available for any questions.
Any comments or questions? Dr. Malvo?
Just letting you get to the podium.
Hurry.
All right, so just one question. I was looking at the different instructional assistants that were put on here and needs and so forth, visual interpreters and so forth. I was just wondering, and interestingly, did signers or note takers need to be part of that? I know that that's a huge thing at our college in terms of students who need note takers and, you know, that sort of thing. Is that something that's part of this that I missed, or?
So we do not have note takers, just in general. If we have students that have that as an accommodation, we have assistive technology setups for them that either speech to text that would be able to give that to them, or potentially teachers having copies of notes for students.
Okay.
Mr. Whistler?
I just have a comment. Thank you, Ms. Whittle. So the public knows, you know, I think we have, what, about 57 to 60 vacancies, right, our SSA vacancies? Listen, this is, as a former educator in Baltimore County, our SSAs are critical to help our students with special needs. So I really encourage parents, you know, retirees. It's the hardest job you'll ever love, giving, you know, great support to our educators. So again, if there's anything that we can do, you know, I think I'm always open to hearing from staff and the superintendent on ways we can help sweeten the pot as it is to help attract folks to fill those SSA positions. But
and I do think we're down on our vacancies from last year. We were trending in the 90s last year, and now we're currently was at 57 when I submitted this. So.
yeah, but again, just wanted to put a plug in for you. I hope more folks come forward.
Me too.
All right. Go ahead, Clay.
Mine's just a comment. I was just going to point out that students is spelled wrong on page 2. I don't know if that's like something that's like important or not, but just wanted to point it out.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
All right. Any other comments or questions? Okay. I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Passes unanimously. May I have a motion for 6D, approval for change order Westminster High School brick repair project?
So moved.
Moved by Mr. Whistler. Second by Ms. Zimmer. Comments or questions? Oh, sorry.
By board policy, all change orders on a project that exceeds $50,000 are submitted to the Board of Education for approval. This change order reflects the identification through the inspection process of an additional area requiring remediation on the Westminster High School brick repair project.
All right. Any comments or questions? No cards? Okay. Now call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It passes unanimously. 6E, the approval of transfer of school bus contracts. Dr. McCabe. Oh, no, sorry. Gosh. Moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second by Dr. Malvo. Dr. McCabe.
Periodically, independent bus contractors wish to transfer contracts to one another. Once those transfers are reviewed and approved by staff, they are brought to the board for approval. This action is for the transfer of one route contract.
Comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. 6F, the approval transfer of bus contracts. Do I have a motion? Oh, no, sorry.
you're on 6F.
Transportation Reimbursement Service
There
Fund.
you go.
Moved by Mr. Whistler. Second by Ms. Zimmer.
Each year in May or June, we bring the transportation reimbursement formula for approval. This is the formula we use to reimburse our bus contractors. It is incorporated into your budget pending your adoption. As presented, the formula includes the salary component component by 5% as discussed throughout the budget process.
Any comments or questions? All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passed unanimously. Thank you, sir. All right, next is 6G, approval of minor boundary adjustments. Moved by Dr. Malvo.
Second.
Second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
All right, so this is a minor boundary adjustment for the Devonshire Road Spruce Meadows community. We have a request for approval of a minor boundary adjustment, which is an infrequent action item. As defined in Administrative Regulation JCAA, a minor boundary adjustment is a change in a school attendance area which does not affect existing students. These adjustments generally relate to a future development or a phased section of a development underway. Staff will initiate minor boundary line adjustments under the following conditions. Number 1, attendance area boundary lines divide properties. Number 2, maps do not clearly define school assignments of current or future students. Or number 3, maps do not accurately identify current school assignments due to unforeseen factors. The extension of Devonshire Road and 3 future associated home sites meets all of these criteria. I recommend approval of the minor boundary adjustment from Spring Garden Elementary to Hampstead Elementary.
All right. Any comments or questions? Dr. Malvo.
I just have one, and I appreciate actually seeing that being taken to that extension, that border. There were 3 new houses that were built on the Garland property area, and just to make sure that there's no more properties that are expected to be built there, because there's definitely more land, prime property that could be put there. So I don't know if anything can be said in terms of if there are any plans future building beyond that border and what we would do about that. Or do we extend then the border and concerned that there might be more properties built there?
We are not aware that there's any future plans beyond the 3 home sites that are being planned. We did talk to the realtor. In fact, that's how we found out about this issue. The realtor called us and realized that didn't make a lot of sense to them that these homes would be in a different school, Spring Garden, versus the rest of the Spring Meadow community. So, but if there were an extension to this, we would take a look at it again. In all probability, if it was still part of the Spring Meadows community, we would ask the board again to extend the boundary further.
Thank you.
Any more questions? Oh, yeah. All right, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Passes unanimously. Next, we will move on to 6H, approval of appointments. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
So there are 2 new hires on the personnel action items this evening. We have Mara Igorin Williams, school psychologist from Baltimore County Public Schools, to School Psychologist Student Services, and Mary Ellen Hanover, School Psychologist, Baltimore County Public Schools, to School Psychologist Student Services.
All right, any comments or questions? I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes unanimously. Agenda item 6I, approval of personnel actual, wait a minute.
So I just did
You just did the
appointments.
appointments, and
Yeah.
these are the items.
And these are the items, yes.
And I have a motion. Moved by Mr. Whistler. And second by Dr. Malvo.
Okay, so tonight we have on our personnel action items just 2 new hires.
Comments or questions? Okay, I call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes unanimously. Next is 6J, approval of National School Board Association National Affiliate Fees. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second by Mr. Whistler. Dr. McCabe.
This action is to approve the annual dues for the National School Board Association, which is the national affiliate of the Maryland Association of Boards of Education, otherwise known as MABE.
Comments or questions? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Passes unanimously. All right. Our next item is discussion is 7A, proposed educational facility master plan.
So sorry, this is,
No,
yeah,
it's
this will
discussion.
just
No need
be
to vote.
discussion. In May of each year, we bring the Educational Facilities Master Plan, also known as the EFMP, for discussion. It then returns for decision in June to comply with the timeline for submission to the state. The EFMP is a required annual document that must be submitted each year to the state IAC. It is a tool used for the prioritization of our CIP projects and their requests each October when you vote on your capital budget. The cover sheet for tonight notes sections of the EFMP with substantive changes, and these include: the first is enrollment projections, and we've been talking about this a little bit leading up to tonight. The new enrollment projections expect less enrollment growth than the previous 2 sets of projections. And within our standard methodology, we have applied 2-year average cohort succession ratios compared to a 4 or a 5-year average based on record low permits in FY24 and FY25, and a significant drop in population gains from net migration this year. The second change to be noted here tonight is the Freedom and Sykesville additions. New enrollment projections do impact the possibility of state funding for both of these projects. The state looks at the enrollment projections and capacity of adjacent schools when determining a project's eligible enrollment number. Adjacent schools have seen fewer actual students than projected showing up over the past 2 years. And more capacity is projected in the region to accommodate the overcrowding at these 2 schools. The potential impact of school-level staffing changes related to the Blueprint fiscal compliance raises questions, and it remains unclear as we now work on a revised plan with the AIB. Staffing impacts class sizes as much as enrollment. The final compliance plan is pending the work of the AIB and their consultants. And finally, the other substantive change is the pre-K additions. These pre-K additions are being adjusted. The new direction related to pre-K expansion in the AIB Joint Implementation Policy Number 3 is that it directs boards of ed to focus on ensuring all eligible Tier 1 4-year-olds are served, and it directs private providers to focus on serving Tier 1 3-year-olds and Tier 2 4-year-olds. The kindergarten additions, along with Phase 1 of the kindergarten additions, as well as the Phase 1 of the pre-kindergarten additions, will add a total of 200 new pre-kindergarten seats over the next 2 years. This expansion of pre-K capacity should be sufficient to meet the pre-K demands over the next several years. So with those 3 substantive changes to be looked at, we're ready to have a discussion, conversation, and staff are here and prepared to respond to questions.
Questions, comments from anybody?
If I can just make a couple of comments. It's really important that the public pays attention to this capital improvement stuff. You know, they spent a lot of time helping us out with the AIB waiver and really digesting this document and how we manage and execute our capital funds is critical. And so I really encourage, you know, community groups and the public to get involved and to dig in and understand this. One of the things that I learned over the last couple of years being a new board member is that just because something says in our documentation, like for example, you know, 120% inadequate, that doesn't mean that the county permitting won't still issue permits for growth in and around that area. You know, while we on the school board think it's at 120% capacity, local areas and county zoning rules, they're different. They can still issue building permits and, you know, for housing permits. So it's really important for folks to, first of all, understand that. 120% to us doesn't mean 120% to the county with regards to issuing building permits. So that's number one. Number two, there are parts of our county that are just growing and growing and growing, and it's really impacting our schools. So dig in, learn, understand future enrollment projections, because that has a lot to do with how we execute and obligate these funds. The staff has always been tremendous over the 3 years I've been on the board in guiding us on which schools to focus on first. And so I appreciate that. And but again, I just wanted to offer that to the public. Please get involved, dig into this CIP and this EFMP so that you can learn more about how this process works.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Okay. So then, let's see, last on the agenda is, so our next meeting will be at 4 p.m. Wednesday, June 11th, here on the boardroom with public participation at 125 North Court Street in Westminster. Everyone have a wonderful Memorial Day and enjoy graduations. Do I have a motion? Moved by Dr. Dorsey. Second? By Dr. Malva. All those in favor? All right. Everyone have a good one. Thank you.